Hello everyone, this is today's video analysis for November 14th, 2018. Today we're looking at the AUDUSD, the Australian versus the US dollar. For today's trade analysis, a couple of things here to point out before I look at the chart is we have significant news out of both the US and Australia today, 8:30 a.m., about 35 minutes from the recording of this video. We have CPI data out of the U.S. may affect everything I'm talking about here in this analysis. We also later this evening have scheduled at 6 p.m. Eastern U.S. time Fed Chair Powell scheduled to speak, and then shortly after that at 7:30 p.m. Eastern U.S. time we have employment data coming out of Australia. So in the next 12 hours or so we have quite a bit of news and information that could have an overall effect on this specific currency pairs. So keeping that in mind, we know that long term it was a downtrend. We zoom out a little bit and we can see the long term downtrend line, the black trend line here. So we know it's been in a downtrend, but we've seen some changes in that recently that may give us pause and reason to start thinking about long on this currency pair. Now that we've seen that, let's zoom it in a little bit. Let's go in one more time. And we can see that a few days ago, well, about a week and a half ago or so, we broke through the top of that black trend line and made a new high right here to the 100 period moving average. Isn't that interesting? Between the trend line and the moving 100 period moving average here into about the 7260 or so levels where that moving average is. Then in the past few days we've seen a fall back down towards the orange zone, 0.7165, and bouncing off the top of that orange zone, which incidentally pretty close to the top of that black trend line. So we saw a breakout and retest of that black trend line here for the Australian dollar. Isn't that interesting? Yesterday in the trade room we also observed this red trend line where we see the support on the left hand side of that red trend line, the resistance in the middle of that red trend line, and now incidentally we have created a new support on the right hand side of that red trend line. So very interesting scenario where we're above the black trend line. We've challenged this diagonal support resistance along this red trend line, somewhat like you would expect a Head and Shoulders to do, and we've sat down on top of support. So really the next hurdle for this currency pair is breaking through the 100 period moving average at 7260 and the yellow shaded area. So we're watching for evidences and clues that the market might do that. Selling off of the US dollar would send this higher. Good positive news for Australia would send this higher. Those are the couple of things that we'll be watching for. For negative news out of the U.S., negative information or sentiment out of the U.S., or positive sentiment or news out of Australia would send this currency pair higher. Of course, just the opposite would be true if it's very positive and the U.S. dollar skyrockets and we look for this to go down, or if the Australian dollar gets negative news on employment data, we may look for this to go down as well. So that's what we need to keep in mind in the next 12 hours or so. I think it's very interesting sitting on top of the pink shaded area, 7210, 7190 as support. We saw a dip to the orange zone, sudden infusion of buyers came in from that orange shaded area, now sitting above that pink zone. That pink zone will now be our support. So as long as it's above it, we have this expectation we may see it try to challenge higher. We know the fundamentals that would affect this, but as long as it's above that support, we may see it challenge higher to the yellow zone as your next resistance. That's not too hard to see. And of course, a break of that resistance and the 100 period moving average, we may see a significant new rally higher here for the Australian dollar. Keeping in mind, at some point, it may return to the downtrend, so we need to keep watchful for that as well. Let's take it down to the 4-hour time frame real quick, and you can see what's been happening here on the 4-hour time frame. The pullback down to the orange shaded area came back up, congestion around the blue zone, sitting around the pink zone, sitting around the pink zone right now, above 72, and the 0.7200 level and 0.7210 top of the pink zone. The next target, of course, again on the upside is the yellow zone or higher to the purple zone. The risk at this point is that we start to break down the pink zone, the orange zone, and head back lower for the Australian dollar today.
From Forex Traders Daily, this has been your daily analysis with Ross Mullins. If you would like to get Ross's analysis on all the currency pairs he's watching and all the trades he takes today, join him in his live trade room by clicking on the link below. Please leave any comments you have about today's video in the comments section below.